everybody. We're out on the road. I figure the right thing to do would be to interview my wife first. She should be the very first one. Not only because she's my wife, but because she's actually had some pretty interesting things happen to her so far. I mean, she was born in Germany, raised in Canada, New York, California. Everything from an Amish lifestyle to DJ. Went from 0 to 5 kids in 4 years. And we got like an hour until we're where we need to go, so fuck it, why not?
Yeah. Hi.
This is Jessica. How are you?
Good.
Good. What you working on?
So, I'm fixing a Christmas decoration.
This
It's
is
my
gonna be-
tiger Rick. Because tigers are for Christmas.
It's gonna be a little shaky. I might not be on her the whole time because I'm not, looking at the screen. I just have it pointed in her general direction, and I forgot the little car mount thing.
So, how am I supposed to introduce myself? Because that kind of covers a lot of it. 37, mother of 5, within 4 years. It's been a weird ride, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, a lot of weird experiences. I mean, married you.
Yeah, that's your own fault.
Hey, you trapped me.
Sure.
You trapped me with your amazing personality. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah, totally. You trapped me the good old-fashioned way.
What's the good old-fashioned way?
It's yours. No.
Absolutely not, sir. Because, you wanted to marry me from week 1, so.
Yeah, that's true.
First week we started talking, we were already talking about marriage stuff.
Engagement rings and wedding dress ideas, because that's normal.
I don't remember the engagement ring idea, but I remember the wedding dress idea.
I looked it all up.
What was the wedding ring, or the engagement ring, do you remember?
It was a replica of the Zora's engagement ring, the Zora's jewel from Legend of Zelda.
Because I remember the dress was Legend of Zelda. Alright, so are you supposed to ask me questions, or am I supposed to just randomly jibber jabber?
Both. Still trying to figure out the formula part, but that's what that's what these things are about. It's just kind of talking and figuring out, what people have in common, where people come from, what led them to where they're at right now.
So you want to know what led me to this point?
Sure. Or what's the biggest thing on your mind right now, regardless of any subject?
Biggest thing on my mind is recovering and taking control of home life. I have to remember to renew my nurse's license. Basically just all these little must-dos rattling around in the back of my head.
Yeah. And what do you mean by getting back to the home life?
Well, I mean, I've discovered over 3 pregnancies that I get very antsy and upset that I can't do things.
Yeah.
I'm very sit still well. I don't know if you've noticed that about our time together. Here we are. We have, an hour and a half drive. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to bring my gigantic tiger rug to sew up and my crocheting to work on. Like, I don't sit still well. So, having to... I mean, we just moved into the house when I found out I was pregnant with Kira.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Well, I found out over 2 years ago. But, so then I can't, lift heavy things and, set up house really. And then we, moved everything in as much as we could and get going with Kira and Alex and figuring out life. And then pregnant with Gage and I can't lift things again. And I don't know, just frustrated me. And now there's so many things in the house that I just want to tackle, and I can barely even keep one project at a time, the things that I want to work on. So that kind of makes me crazy. A lot in my head.
Yeah, but you're getting a lot of stuff done lately.
And the problem is I don't feel like I am.
Yeah? Why is that?
Because I have a final goal in mind. I want to have X done by the end of the week, and then I try to set small goals for each day, so I'm satisfied by the end of the day I did a little something, even if the kids distract me and I'm only able to get 2 things done. They were 2 reasonable things, and I feel good about that. But the end of the week project didn't make it, and that infuriates me, and it makes me feel like I've been lazy and I haven't done what I need to, and then I just want to cry.
Oh. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. I know it is. But I mean, Gage is a month and a half old?
Yeah, just over a month and a half. Which is how I'm finally admitting I don't sit still well. So, yeah. Gage is something else too. It's very draining. Breastfeeding and everything, and chasing the other 2 kids, and Alex's incessant questions. I love his questions. Just so incessant.
Yeah. I say, it's not fair how they treat us. Not, that it's not equal. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not equal. They are glued to you at all seconds of the day, and they just, care less of what I do most of the time.
And it leads to a sense of guilt for me because, I'm sitting on the couch and Alex says, well, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing something? Why don't you do this, or come do this? And so when he's taking a nap and I actually have some quiet time, I feel like I should be doing something and doing this and doing that. I've thought about it, that if I was at a job, if I was working and, I started at 9 o'clock in the morning and, it's 1 p.m., it's lunchtime. Get out of here, I got lunch, don't talk to me, That's how I would be at work. Like, this is my lunchtime, you don't come to me on my lunchtime. And here, I'm starting 9 o'clock in the morning and I sit down with my food, the kids are napping, and I'm getting to actually sit down and actually eat calmly and slowly and enjoy it. And it's like, okay, you've been sitting still for 5 minutes, what are you gonna do? You gotta, come on, don't be just sitting there. And I'm like, my brain won't let me. So yeah, it's kind of infuriating. And I don't like when the kids leave me alone, oddly enough. Well, because they leave me alone because they're on their tablets. Or, they're watching TV or something that, they could be more productive. And why am I not engaging them? And my head messing with me again, so. So yeah, even when they're napping and it should be my break time, I I don't see it that way. So I don't treat my break time that way, and that's not healthy.
We don't see it that way. Because, yeah, it is really fucking hard to get you to rest. To get you to stand still. At least completely. Because, yeah, you don't... Yeah, there may be some things you don't... Or some days you don't get anything, like, accomplished as far as your own goals go. But, you know, you're up to your elbows in kids at all times.
I think...
Like, the times that you really should be resting, why don't you think you should?
And I think it's because I overthink it. I consider, you know, like, people around me or people that I grew up watching, and, well, they were able to do this and they were able to do that, so why are you sitting still, you know? That whole I worked from dusk to dawn mentality. Why do I get to be the one to sit still? I guess. Messes with me. I think a lot of it is my grandmother. I mean, I honestly have no idea where I get this mentality from. I mean, my paternal grandmother, she had a stroke and they told her bed rest, and like 3 hours later she was up washing the vegetables to can them, and I don't know. That happens.
Wow.
They let her go home on strict orders of bed rest, and my grandfather, he went out in the garden to pick vegetables because that was his stress relief, was working in the garden, you know, pulling weeds and pulling vegetables, you know, and that was his stress relief. So he went out and he picked some vegetables, and she heard them clunk into the sink, and so she kind of made this look on her face and got out of bed and started canning vegetables. Everybody was so mad at her. No idea where I get it from. But
How old were you when that happened?
how old was I? Had to have been 9th grade or younger. So yeah, definitely an impressionable age. An age where it, you know, stuck with me.
Sorry, we hit a really pretty spot in our drive. I'm just trying to capture it.
Get it? Okay. How often do we get to see this, honestly?
Well, it's kind of hard when I'm just kind of pointing my hand in that direction and hoping it works.
Just look at this lovely corner of the door. It's gorgeous. I almost feel like we should wake Alex up. Look it! But I mean, boy needs his nap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to be fair, my mother doesn't sit still well either.
No.
Her sitting still is crocheting or... Well, I mean, she's calmed down though. Of course, now when she's sitting still at home, she's covered in dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much of that sitting still is credit to her and how much is the dogs are all over her and she can't do anything. But growing up, she didn't sit still well. She's the one I picked up my crocheting from, really. But I didn't, it's weird because I picked up my crocheting from her, but I didn't pick it up until later on in life, so it's not like, you know, I was 6 years old watching her crochet or anything. Weird.
Yeah. But she just had this command over the house and routine. Oh no! I thought for some reason I went back to your grandma for a second.
Oh yeah, no, she did. Grandma had everything on a schedule, and it makes me feel guilty that I don't. But on the other hand, she'd been doing it for decades by the time I was there.
Yeah.
She had 5 grown children, and she had all of this in step. And you know, I've got teenagers and 3 infants, and why don't I have it together? I've been a mother for a whole 4 years. Come on. Like, I need to slow my roll, and I know it here and I don't know it here. So it's a balancing act, honestly. The human experience. Experiencing humanity in a humanly way. Sorry.
I think that's good. I think that's good. I think we had a good video.
Oh, we did? Okay.
I think so. Any last bits of any last bits of feeling you want to share? Any tips for beginner moms or anything? Any closing thoughts?
The kids only look out for themselves. They only ask for themselves. They only want for themselves. And it's my job to take care of their wants and think of what they're going to want before they want it. And no offense, but to do the same for you. It's my job to do that for you. And it's vital that I remember to do it for me, because I think a lot of us moms out there, we put us last, and there is a bottom of the barrel, you know, and when you're scraping it, you're not giving anybody anything. And if I'm gonna not snap at these kids, I need to remember, yeah, I might be fixing a tiger, and it might look like work to other people, but this is a tiger that's been needing to be fixed for 4 or 5 years, and it makes me feel good to fix it. I'm happy doing this, and I have to remember, if I'm doing it in my downtime, it better be something that makes me feel good about it. If it's work, then put it down, because this is my downtime and you're not working. And I have to remember that. It's got to be a mantra. And I think other moms need to do that too. You need to remember, if it's technically downtime, do something that makes you feel happy. If it's crafting, great. If it's reading, great. If it's drinking a coffee and silently cursing the children, do that too. You know? Mental health is important. I've cursed the children. They're adorable. But I've done it.
If you haven't cussed out your kids behind their backs,
then you're not being honest.
or giving them the finger behind their backs. So frustrating.
And you know, that's also a point. Like, you said you want to do an interview for me, but it ends up being an interview on being a mom. Like, that's how much it takes over, you know? Like, yeah, it's weird.
It's what your life is right now, what your experience is right now.
Yeah, true.
Everything we talk about eventually gets back to them.
Yeah. I could have done so much yesterday, but I took a giant chunk out of my day just to spend time with the teenagers, because they needed, I don't know, quality time, really, because personally I don't feel like much was accomplished. We didn't have, you know, quality talks or talks on mental health. We didn't do any of that, but I think they just needed to see us. They just needed to see me and see the kids. So that's a big chunk out of my day where I'm like, okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm not. But that's what they needed.
Yeah.
So I have to remember it's an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like one, but that was an accomplishment. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience. And thank you for going along with this crazy ass idea of mine.
Always. I always go for your crazy ideas.
Mm-hmm. I love you.
Love you too.